You can tell, COINTEL, my clique has never failed. My boat has never sunk, my ship has never sailed. My hope is never shaken, my spirit is never broken. My legs are never open, my words will always be quoted. My vision is focused. Tell the POTUS I don't trust him, he'll never be noticed. I think it's time that I put you all on notice. I'm the one, David Ruffin, I'll never be Otis. If I did it, then it better work. The music industry hates me cause I'll never twerk. I'm in a different world, each verse brings the metaverse. Optometrist, I change vision like the Oculus. Watch me fly over Metropolis. Tell all the populace, rise from sarcophagus. No hypothesis, I see apocalypse. Muhammad's disciple speaks like a prophetess. We got him like we got him like, yeah. We got him like. Tell the people we coming through and we got them like. It's ain't love from the west, coming strong, Cali's best. We got them like. Tell the people we coming through and we got them like.
See, I done came from the bottom. I usually choose peace, today we choose violence. And they don't really know what to do, and I'ma keep banging the truth. Lyrically impeccable, irrepressible spectacle. I could turn a vegetable into an intellectual. My ancestors celestial, go beyond the skeleton. Fact checking these rappers, none of these credible. If it don't apply to the fly, it's a hypothetical. It's just the type of that you kicking is unacceptable. If you're not helping me grow, I'm just not available. I want the whole left side of a decimal, incredible. I ain't even hardly reached my pinnacle. Jump in the cypher and turn it into a festival. Bang on the gang till the game need medical. I'ma keep grinding to the it's unpreventable. Middle finger, you haters, for that'll be unprofessional. We is just not compatible. I am too undetectable. Put the pedal, the metal hitting your mental. My pen penetrating your sensory. You looking terrible. Whoa, whoa, all I see is green light bulbs. East New York, Brooklyn, let it go. My light might be an iPhone. Third eye, I see the rival. See my arrival.
We got him like. We got him like. Yeah. We got him like. Tell the people we coming through and we got him like.
It's that Nick, run the East New York, we run the streets.
We got him like. Tell the people we coming through and we got him like.
You know. We the creme de la creme. They give us accolades, but that's God working through us. We send praises up to him. Brotherhood tight, sisterhood tight, nation building, team players. We all shooting in the gym. Got the guys with me, got the FOI with me. If we gotta go to war, then we fighting to the death. Not a betting man, but if I was and you ask me who I put my money on, you know I'm putting it on them. Come through, they gotta respect, they gotta tip they hat. Don't disrespect our women, word bond, we'll kill for that. In the field working with bullets fly like we in Iraq. I do this for the family, I rap, but this way deeper than rap. Stand up, solid soldiers with me, we don't back though. I don't deal with milk toast brothers like I'm lactose. Every time I come in first, they act like they was rooting for me. Whole time I know they wanted me to come in last though. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulallah. If it wasn't for you, I know I wouldn't have made it through Allah. Grant me protection on this mission that I pursue, Allah. I know with you behind me, there ain't nothing that I can't do, Allah. You know.
We got him like. We got him like. Yeah. We got him like. Tell the people we coming through and we got him like.
It's GC from the shop. FOI till I die.
We got him like. Tell the people we coming through and we got him like. It's ain't love.
All right, peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Knowledge Radio, place for knowledge is born. This is your host, knowledgebornallah. We here with this epic series, okay? I put this series out together as a research question, and it was calling all cars. And I thought I was going to have an overwhelming response with a bunch of people with their thoughts and ideas and put this together. We plan on doing a documentary and a book out of this particular research question right here. And I got one person, okay? I got one goddess and I got the God today. You understand what I'm saying? So we're here and we're looking introspectively at this research question. Why are we still calling ourselves the N-word and the B-word in 2023? So I got a phenomenal mind. One who's out here as a change agent with young Black men, an activist in our community, a thought leader, in the mastermind, a good brother, true and living here, who is truly working in and supports the best interest of Black people and liberation of our people going forward. So it's my honor and privilege at this time to introduce and present to others. My brother from the Wu-Tang of podcasting. Understand what I'm saying? From that dynasty, the Melvinaire dynasty. Don't you want to be a Melvinaire? You know what I'm saying? Who wants to be a Melvinaire? One of the dynamic co-hosts over there with that dream team. My brother, your brother, Billie Ray Valentine. Welcome back to the platform. Welcome. Thank you for being here. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, my brother. Thank you once again for inviting me. I'm coming out of Brickyard, Philadelphia. I got to represent every time, Brickyard, Philadelphia. I would like to personally just say that the intro is fire. That's revolutionary music. I think we need to really get back to that kind of music because I think it really can help change our spirits and deprogram us from off the nonsense that we listen to. I just want to say one thing before we get into this. I want to say rest in peace. I don't really like to single out when celebrities experience tragedy, but it hits so close to home, and to me personally, because I have a son that'll be 22 in the end of the summer, and I want to say rest in peace to Cheese, Gilly the kid's son. He was murdered. I think it was Friday morning maybe, or Friday a few days ago, and it's always a tragedy when our young brothers or any of our people pass away unexpectedly, especially when it's violent. And it hits close to home to me. And, I'm in the trenches in Philadelphia. And the reason why I do what I do is to try to help our children get away from that environment. Not really get away from it, but learn how to maneuver through it and see that it's more out here than what society has got planned for us. Being a father, having a young adult is really, really hard, especially, being a Black father. That's what I'm speaking about. It's really, really hard to navigate. And I can never understand. I can never see how he felt in his shoes. But it hits close to home to me. I just want to say rest in peace again. Rest in peace to all the fallen youth across the world, all the fallen Black youth across the world. And there's a lot of things I would trade to bring all of them back, but I don't even want to get into it right now. That's maybe a topic for another show. But as far as the topic, you want to set it off a little bit?
Well, I'm on this quest to uncover and discover the thoughts and ideas and the motivations of our people surrounding the N word and the B word. So I definitely want to open the floor up for you to share your thoughts on the topic surrounding the research question. And you could go wherever you want to go. Why? Okay. Why do you think we're still calling ourselves the N word and the B word in 2020?
I know. I mean, this is really cut and dry. I think we all still programmed. We all programmed from what we experienced since children, since growing up, like our environment. We got programmed. We heard our parents listen. We heard our parents using the word, our family members, and it started from there. And then nobody never stopped using it. So it became normalized. One thing that I learned from one of my mentors, I look at Neely Fuller Jr. as a mentor and a thought leader, a person that I hold a high regard. And he says he always teaches us that words are tools. So I'm coming from a different perspective. I mean, gonna come from a practical perspective, and I'm gonna come from like a spirit. I would call it a spiritual or from a mind, from how you think about it in your mind, and to reality, into the 3 different dimensions, pretty much. So it's a physical, and the physical is what you say and how you feel about yourself. Then there's a spiritual when you're using a word, because some people say that words are power. You know, words are spells. There's a lot of different a lot of places a lot of people a lot of like areas that I study, because I don't limit myself to just Neely Fuller Jr. I use different sources, and I pull what applies to me and what resonates with me, and I put it all together, and it becomes what I am, is what my ideology is. So to get back on Neely Fuller Jr., he says words are tools, and tools are nothing. Tools are just like a the traditional term for tools. Wrench. You pick up a wrench and you use it to complete a job. Same way with words. So so if I want to take it from that approach and look at it from the logical sense, because Neely Fuller Jr. is all about the logic of the universe. And you think about a word, the N word. The N word has a very strong condemnation to it. Depending on who you talk to, people get highly offended by it. And being as though we're living under the system of white supremacy, we have to use everything that we learn and apply it to our lives to help us navigate through it, so where we make less mistakes. We're never going to be perfect. So when you look at words as tools, a tool can't do nothing to you unless you pick it up and use it. It can be used as a weapon. It can be used for whatever you want to use it for. But that tool, the tool in itself, if you put it on the shelf by itself, is useless. So when you think about the N word, and I just want to speak about the people who get triggered by it when somebody that's not black uses it, or whatever the case may be. What I learned is you have to apply that the word is a tool. Like you have to think about your reactions to what people say. You have to be able to be in control at all times. So a word should not be able to change change who you are, change your mood. It's just a word. Just like that wrench on the shelf over there can't do nothing until you pick it up. That's what that word is. You allow it. If you allow it to make you feel a kind of way, it's gonna make you feel some type of way. So as far as that, I look at the word, and because sometimes I use the word, but since meeting my brother Knowledge, he expressed to me about, you know, the word, how he doesn't value that word at all, and I probably never called him. I don't think I did, but once he made it clear to me, I was clear on it, and I understood, and I respected it. That's another thing that Neely Fuller teaches us. He teaches us that you should call people what they want to be called, regardless of what it is, because at the end of the day, we here to solve problems. So if my brother Knowledge say I don't want to be referred to as that, I'm automatically do it regardless. If it was something totally different from that word, it could be something ridiculous. Like I want to be called bottled water. The code says if this person wants to be called bottled water, call them bottled water. It's all about the respect. It's all about respecting that person and making that person comfortable. So because y'all together, you're going to need him. Together, y'all can solve problems. So as far as that word, I don't agree with people. I think we should get better. I'm not going to say I don't agree. I think we should get better at controlling ourselves when we hear that word, and in a negative way, because sometimes like I know it's a lot of times we'll let our emotions dominate us, and when we're emotional, we're not thinking clearly. So I would just like us to this is a different perspective, because I'm gonna go through different ways to look at it. This is just one way I choose to look at it, and I'm always gonna follow the logic of the universe. So I look at words as tools. So that word is definitely going to trigger me depending on who say it, but I also have to be mindful to have the right reaction, because I still have people. I still have a mission, and I have a assignment and I have to be here to fulfill it. So if I'm letting anything negative or anything that triggers me affect me in a way where I can do something to where it incapacitates me or it takes me away, then I need to check that. Another thing I wanted to bring up as far as that that particular viewpoint of how I look at it as word as a tool, it kind of contradicts some of the things that I learned. I mentioned a little bit earlier from other sources. They teach us that words are spells. Words have power, and they teach us that speak your life into existence. So when you're using your words and you want to speak constructive thoughts, you want to use constructive words, you want to speak about yourself constructively, you want to speak about what you want to speak about your life or your loved ones in a constructive manner, and that in turns brings constructive things to you, and that's consistent with the logic of the universe. So, and to me, everything usually revolves back to logic, or to the logic of the universe. Even though it might not look like it, it's different avenues, all the different sources that I use, that I learn from, that I study, they all lead back to the logic of the universe. They all do. So bringing that up, see, that kind of contradicts the word as a tool. Word is only a tool. You shouldn't put that much energy into what a word. But then, like I just said, it kind of contradicts. So it's a balance between, depending on what you consume and what you follow and what your ideology is of self, then that'll determine the power of that word to you. Now, by meeting you, I like to incorporate things that I learned, that I respect, and I like to do anything different than what I normally used to do, because when you continue to do the same things over and over that don't work, then it's time for you to change. So when I say the word, the N word, I'm gonna incorporate not using it, because I think maybe that'll help speak life into our people, a better life into our people, or more positive, more constructive words. So I'm gonna try to apply that. Sometimes our people use that word, and I understand. We were trained that way. Some people use that word and they really, really use it as a term of endearment. Like, that's my N word. That's my N word. Like, for real. Like, I have people that I said that to. Like, yeah, I really feel that. So it's all about the individual, and it's all about how they look at it. And to me, whatever you learn, whatever you apply to your life, it makes you a better person. It makes you a constructive person. It makes you a more productive person for your family. It makes you a more valuable member to the Black community. Then I'm all for it. So regardless of what it is, because at the end of the day, it's about the results, the constructive results. So that's the way I look at it, just briefly. How I look at it. So it's really deep. I'm still on. I mean, I don't really have any reverence for the word besides being trained to use it. So anything that's not for us, I'm really willing to discard. So it'll never be. I'm not going to be the person like to say, well, the N word is. I'm not going to be the person that just thinks I'm not gonna be the person that just says somebody who don't want to use that word is being too dramatic or whatever the case may be, because every individual is responsible for their own for themselves and how and what they do and what they present to the world. So if that word is detrimental to them, then discard it from them. You shouldn't use it on them. You shouldn't use that word for them. Period. But it's hard for me to think of a way that word can be constructive when it was given to us by our enemy. Let me read. I'm gonna read the definition of it, the compensatory definition of the word NIGGER. And this is from right out the book, United Independence Compensatory Code System Concept. This is actually the word guide. There's 3 books, but one's the word guide, one is the actual textbook. And then they have he had the original book, and they all pretty much the same thing. But this particular book is the word guide. He had a bunch of different definitions, compensatory definitions that he made these definitions up, and these definitions are more tailored to what the experience that we living in, and is more tailored to that. So this is the word NIGGER. It said, use this word with caution. Do not use it to apply to any specific person. Use it only to apply to non-white people in general, and or to yourself in particular. Use it to apply to the non-white people of the known universe only while they are subject to white supremacy racism. Do not use it when you have reason to believe that using it will produce or promote a greater conflict or confusion among or between non-white persons. And that's key. That's critical, because I applied that knowledge to when my brother spoke about that word. My brother Knowledge spoke about that word, and that was directly, I applied that knowledge right to it. So that goes back to you address people the way they want to be addressed. That's respect. And to continue with the definition, I'm gonna skim through it. When a white person used the word NIGGER, ask for a detailed explanation that you could easily understand. When in doubt about using or not using this word, use instead the terms the pitiful person or the pitiful people to apply to non-white people in general during the existence of white supremacy racism. Do not, under any circumstances, use the word NIGGER to name, call, insult, or embarrass anyone at any time. Now, for some clarity, when he speaks about the pitiful people or the pitiful person, he's talking about our conditions. We're in a pitiful condition. We're under a condition of white supremacy, or whatever you want to call it. Some people say we shouldn't use that. We shouldn't call it that. So I'm all about clarity, and I'm all about what the reality is. And the reality is we're in an oppressive system. You can name it whatever you want, but the same effects is not going to change. You could call it whatever you want. Now back to, I'm going to use an example of how the correct uses that he put in the book. He got a correct usage. Racist man and racist woman are determined to have us function forever as niggers. Sorry, excuse me, but that's the word. That's the correct uses of the word. That's the word that they give us. That's the word that they call us. So to sum it all up, the definition of that word is victim of white supremacy. So we're victims until the system is done, until we're able to defeat the system. Some people might not like to hear that. So that always goes back to, and that goes back to what some of the things I said earlier, like words are power. Words speak. You want to speak your words, speak constructively. You want to speak good things, and they'll come to you. They'll come to your existence. So if we continue to use that word, we're using an accurate word. If we're going off the compensatory definition, that word can be used. But what is the benefit of it? So we can just, I don't have no problem with discarding anything that's not for us at all. Because it's not like that word is power. That word is not, we're not getting no power source from that at all. Another thing I wanted to talk about was a quote that I think I made this quote up. I just thought about it. But a prisoner will consume whatever you give them. We don't have the freedom to explore. So that's why we use the word. We are prisoners. They taught us they taught us that we were this. They taught us we under conditions of oppression. And that's the word for it. That's the word that they assigned to us. So what Nelly Fuller Jr. did was just use that word, and he defined it on a more accurate term, so we can so we as a people we can understand what we're doing as far as that word. And I think that's why I admire his brilliance so much, because he'll put things into his books, or he'll speak things, on his broadcast that will seem like they're designed to trigger us, but in reality, it's designed for us to think about it. That trigger, when you get triggered, you automatically, you should use that energy, that fire. It's a passion that comes when you get triggered. So that passion should be used in a more constructive way. So when somebody calls you the N-word or anything, you should be able to use that passion to understand that, okay, this person is trying to trigger me. Let me handle this a different way. That way you take the power away from the word. The word is a tool. It's only going to be useful if the person who's using it is using it. If you allow that person to use it in a negative way towards you, then it's going to be a negative result from it. So
I want to
yeah, go ahead. You can jump in.
I wanted to speak to that polarity. You said people use it as a term of endearment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a word that's used to describe someone you would kill, someone you would rob, someone you would maim, somebody you would do wrong and do dirty, historically came from a context in the American society, because we're only talking about the American society, because the American society dominates culture and dictates culture to the rest of the world, particularly on how we are identified and addressed.
Absolutely.
So the same word that was used to describe property, we were not human beings. We were not human beings. That's what ignorant means. You're not cognizant of who you are as a person. Somebody has to tell you. You're not a person. You're an N-word. And if you were a female, you were an N-word B. So you're an N-word B word. So the property owner looks at its property. As long as the property is useful, it has a space or claim of value. You don't look at your house like you look at a human. You don't look at the contents within your house according to the property, your furniture, or anything like that. Your chair doesn't talk back to you. Your chair doesn't ask you for equal rights and representation. Your chair doesn't ask you for equal protection under the law. The chair is only useful as long as you can sit your ass in it. And as soon as you can't sit in it, you replace the chair or you try to repair the chair. So when you're looking at property, you look at property in the same kind of place. So as long as this property is functioning well enough in the society to increase my standing in the society, it's of use to me. But its use is tied to the amount of value that it can bring me. After that, it goes no further than that. So this endearing term that we're using to describe us is the same term that's used to destroy us. So I'm interested in the polarity of it in regards to this term of endearment and the power that it has versus the term that is used in regards to describe someone that you could take the life from. You know, the opposite sides of the polarity. It's love over here and it's absolute death and devastation. I don't care if his mama's in the house or his grandmama's in the house. We're going to run up on that N-word. We're going to run up on that B-ass N-word. You understand what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck who's out there. You see what I'm saying? I don't care anything about that. You know, if you remember in Minister Society, I smoke anybody. I just don't give a fuck. You see what I'm saying? So these things that seeded in the mind, everybody wanted to be O-Dog, and nobody wanted to be Sharif. But O-Dog was around Sharif the entire time. No matter where he was, O-Dog was right there. Whether he was trying to go back and forth with him, but what he was doing was he was listening. And he was alive, and Sharif was the first one to die. So the one who said, I smoke anybody, I don't give a fuck, he was spared, and he got taken into police custody without incident. And the young man that was working, that had transformed himself and had dedicated his life to the service of Black people, was the first one that was killed. You see what I'm saying? Because he was around the same people, and every time that he came around them, he was coming around them as an example. He had a respect for life, and his life was taken. The one who had no regard for life, his life was spared, and he was taken away without incident. But he had to go into the penitentiary system in his mind from a juvenile on up with everything that he learned from that man who gave his life for him. See that? So again, the polarities that's associated with the same word, because the same things that are ascribed to the N word are the same things that are ascribed to the B word. Oh, that's my B, you know, that's a real B, blah, 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 this and that. You see what I'm saying? All of these things are denoting two halves of the same whole. So I definitely wanted to hear your thoughts about that in regards to the, you know, the N word and the B word, you know, presented as a term of endearment versus the other aspects of it when it's not so good. Because it's all good for me, you know, oh, that's my N word until I don't agree with him. Or that's my B until I disagree with her. You see what I'm saying? So now the polarity switches in regards to how I feel. And nothing of worth and value, like whether I feel bad or good about my mother, it doesn't change the fact that she's my mother. However, we use a word like the N word or the B word, and it becomes circumstantial depending on how we use it. And then there's some context that's associated with something that's so glaring and so often in use. You see what I'm saying? Like I said before we went live, you know, a brother tell me I ain't no God, but he don't have a problem with calling me his N word. So whether he Christian, whether he Muslim, whether he Hebrew, whether he Moorish, whether he Nubian, whether he an atheist, whether he got his chakras aligned, whether he know all of the zodiac placements in his chart, no matter what the fuck he's dealing with, he's trying to call me his N-word. You see what I'm saying? He's like, yo, we ain't supposed to be eating broccoli. Dr. Sabi told us, man. You understand what I'm saying? We ain't supposed to be like all of these things in regards to this. So this phenomenon that's associated with this language is something that I'm looking to analyze. It perplexed me. You understand? It perplexed me and sent me on this quest. I'm like, we know Jesus' address, telephone number, the credit score. You see what I'm saying? We know the conjunctions of the planets and the transits of the planetary system. We got all of this advanced knowledge, and we are still using language that and presenting it as endearing with all of the other words that we could use to describe ourselves. So I was just curious about it, and this query went to it, you know. Ancestrally, my ancestors was on my spirit because I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go, no matter who I was talking to on the phone or whatever the case may be. And I noticed that I'm gonna give you a chance to answer the question.
That's fine.
But I just noticed that in my regular verses with the gods, whether it was he or her, we still came to the same point where I'm like, yo, I'm not your N-word. And then they get sarcastic with you and crazy. Oh, this N-word don't want to be called the N-word. Hey, don't call him no N-word because this N-word think that. So this can't be something that you're saying to me in love. It has to be met with the malice. If I call somebody the N-word, I don't care anything about their existence or their family's existence. You see what I'm saying? So they're saying it in the same way that their slave master said it, yet they'll say, oh no, we're taking it back. Ice Cube went on the TV show to talk to the white dude and said, we're taking this back, it's ours. And I'm supposed to, be like, yeah, that was a great thing that he did. He went on there. You see what I'm saying? Like it's all of these things become convoluted. And when we look at the goal, my goal, like your goal, like many of our goals, is unity amongst our people, the reunification of our people. And what we call ourselves is very important. They'll tell us, hey, yo, you ain't black. I don't know why y'all using that term, but they ain't got no problem with saying I'm not black, but calling me the N-word. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, we following false doctrines. I was talking to the Israelites. They telling me I'm following a false doctrine, but they still they don't have a problem with calling me their N-word. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, I need to be accepting of people of other races, and other races are looking to call me the N-word also. So it ain't, you could look through the entire spectrum from black to white, everything in between and everybody in between, even black people are looking to call me their N-word and my sister the V-word, as if that's okay. You see what I'm saying? So I had a little moment where I just, wanted to add into some of the things you were saying. So I just wanted to, have you continue your thoughts on what we learned.
You gave some great perspective. And I think you, what you said, you kind of determined that what's consistent with what I said about words being a tool and the intent. It was all about the intent, but you cleared that up really, really clear to the point where you said, whether it depends on how the person is feeling. I'm the N-word, and that's a term of endearment, and then I'm an N-word because I would do anything to my N-word enemy, right? So with everything you said, this is determined to me that it's no useful. It can't be used as a tool because there's really no useful way to use it. It's useless. It's a useless word that we can discard. I'll be all in favor of discarding because it doesn't empower us in no way at all. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And it made me just, because like I said, anything that's not for our people, we need to discard it, period. I don't care what it is. That's included the things that we hold so dearly to our culture. Discard everything that's not serving us. Discard everything that's not putting us on a path of freedom. I was watching. Well, let me get to this. The N-word is more comfortable to use than the word God. Personally, I had to understand. I learned that. I mean, by me, I speak to you. It's still new to me using the word, using God. I don't use N-word in my progression. I don't use that word nowhere near as much as I used to. It's not normal for me to use it. When I use it, I notice it now. So back to it's kind of like a word that is useless. If you think about, just to push back a little bit on, the word is useless. So I determined that. But to push back on, just to give another perspective, that word is not really revered by our brothers from the continent, brothers and sisters from the African continent. They don't look at that word as reverence in a reverence way, because just like you mentioned earlier, its origins are the North America, United States, where we live at. And I was watching something earlier about a Nigerian brother and him moving from, he's trying to make it to either America or Europe for a better life. And I noticed the way he speaks, there are people over there have a tendency to, when they speak in English, they speak it properly, or whatever you want to call proper, but it's clear. It's more like, it's not slang. It doesn't sound like slang. It's more like a clear diction, and people call it proper, but it's proper. I would say I can't think of a better word to use. More proper English. But they don't use that word over there. It's nowhere near as much as we use it. They probably learned it from us, but they don't use that word over there. And look at their conditions. Their conditions are still oppressed over there. We're oppressed across the world. So I'm just give people an idea of words, of how that word, just to give the people an idea of how that word is. It's still, words are still tools, pretty much. So regardless of anything, if they're not using the word, and their conditions are not really that much better than ours. It's not comparable. There's nothing to compare. We all are oppressed. So I just want us to focus on whatever doesn't serve us, just to discard it. Back to your questions about the polarity. Like I said, I after what you said, I just look at it like I said, we could do without the word. We really could do without it. We'll do without it, and it doesn't serve us nothing. It doesn't serve anything. It's just at this point, anybody that still want to use it, we just deprogram and condition to do it. What's most important is how you see yourself, first of all. So when you start looking at yourself for who you are, and you start valuing yourself more, you're gonna think of more different terms to describe yourself. You know what I'm saying? So just like when I met you encouraged me to look at myself as a God. I know I'm a God. I kind of knew that early on. Like you talked about, you mentioned the book From Niggas to God. Excuse me. N-words to God. I read that early on. And I learned a lot from that book. But I was probably high school age when I read that book. I was still in high school. But my adult life, right after that, when I was running around using that word freely. I didn't apply any. That stuff was just still inside of me. It was still part of my fabric, but I didn't have the capacity to apply what I learned in that book at that time to my life. So I ran around acting like an N-word. I guess that's what they call it, acting like an N-word, embracing the word, doing all types of N-word stuff in the guise of it being our lifestyle as hip hop. I guess that hip hop is our life. So all that encompasses. Hip hop promotes that. Rap music promotes it heavily. So it's so much embedded in our fabric that it's a part of who we are. And I'm starting to see that that's the reason why we're still on this path, on this destructive path. And not many of us breaking loose from it, like yourself, like yourself and me, and the people we know and love that's close to us, and people that's out there. We have a allegiance to a lot of stuff that don't serve us, and that's a sickness. So what I try to encourage people to do, even my seeds, I encourage them to try to do different things. Do things different. Like, don't do the things that you grew up on. Explore different things in terms of like for instance, don't just if you listening to if your routine is to listen to put some hip hop on, some rap music on while you're driving. Do something different, like maybe put some healing music on, something that makes you to think. That's what I started doing. Put some classical music on, something that like taps into your mind more, to have your thoughts, have you using your mind, and have you pretty much opening your mind. Those things like that, like that type of music that opens your mind and causes you to think deeply or think for an extended period of time without any type of words or any type of static or any type of disruption in your thought pattern. You'll be surprised how much, by the end of that trip, you'll be surprised about how better you feel and how refreshed you feel, and how many ideas that you think about during that time. So I encourage our people just to discard everything that's not for us. That's going to be the thing. And that word is not for us anymore. It's not for us. And I don't know if I answered your question, but I think it's pretty clear. When I come to that determination, it's pretty clear.
You can drop all them jewels, and then at the end say, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, I don't know if I answered directly, because my mind, how my mind goes. My mind just be.
I love it, man. I love you sharing your thoughts on the bridge, because again, I'm not here to browbeat or change anybody's mind in regards to how they feel. I've heard people, I've heard justifications, I heard connections, I heard all kinds of things. So if it ain't the N word, it's a term like alpha male. Alpha male and beta male. When they want to disrespect a man, a black man, let me be clear, because they're not disrespecting any other man. When they want to disrespect themselves, when black people want to disrespect themselves, they will be very artful and very elaborate in the description. They will go out of their way to destroy and disrespect black people, period. Very, viscerally and very adversarially. So they say something like, I'm an alpha male, I ain't got no time for these beta males. Not putting together the historical significance of an alpha male and what one needed to do to become an alpha male in Greece. Even you use the term mentor. You see what I'm saying? That's a Grecian word with an older man looking to prime a younger boy.
Wow.
So, that's a space. Even with agape, true agape in European society is an older man's affinity to a younger boy. This is why you had those baby angels. And all of that connection between the old man and their God beings space. There's no room for a woman. So there's an old man and a young boy, and that's supposed to be love. That's supposed to be the highest form of love. So these are all connections that are there, that are interconnected and interrelated, devoid of our proper insight to them. So, you'll have black dudes, they'll say that they're not African, right? Of course, we ain't no African. They'll tell you they ain't no stinking African and call themselves an alpha male. You see what I'm saying? They'll be like, I ain't no stinking African. And then they'll be like, well, Africans don't even like us and they don't fuck with us and, blah, blah, blah. But they'll use the term like alpha male. And then when they want to disrespect another black man that they see as lesser than them, they'll call them a beta male. They'll call themselves dominant and call them recessive. So in order for you to become an alpha male, you had to dominate the backside of another male. You had to take his manhood. You see what I'm saying? You had to take his manhood, physically take his manhood. So he became a beta as a result of your dominating force. But nobody's running around telling them, hey man, we shouldn't be calling ourselves no alpha male. you'll just hear somebody saying alpha male or beta male. Where the alpha's at, and I'm alpha, and blah blah blah. All of these terminologies that we're ascribing to ourselves, and insatiably in my mind, I'm saying, okay, these are all connected. They're all interconnected. So this running thing in the culture amongst us is you cannot be black and reach any level of success without being associated with criminality, immorality, impropriety of getting things by some unethical means.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's nothing associated with black life in regards to success, chiefly among black people, where we will look at any level of success or notoriety without some attachment to ill-gotten gains. He had to do something. She had to do something illegal. And what's that associated with? How you call yourselves. You could be $1 billion N-word to black people. But then they'll tell you that's a term of endearment. They'll tell you that you could be a scientist, a doctor, a lawyer, or that N-word. You can be a president of an African country, and they can still call you that N-word president of the African nation. You can birth children that came from your loins, and you can still call your children, your offspring, that N-word. That little N-word. These little N-words is getting on my nerves. You can call your mother and your father, who's responsible for your life here in the physical world. My mother, that N-word. My father, that N-word. Understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my mother, that B-word. My father, that bitch-ass N-word. You can do that. You can do that. You can do that. Historically, we could go through the ancestral pantheon of the greats, and somebody can call them N-words. We ain't them N-words. You can suffer an atrocity like the Ma'afa, and they'll tell you, oh, we ain't those N-words. We're going to fight back. We and our ancestors that F them N-words. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this psychosis that's associated with this fallen, broken state of people. So again, they ascribe it to white supremacy. They said we ain't supposed to use the word white supremacy. Ain't nothing supreme about them. Why are we not free?
Exactly. That's the word.
Why are we not fighting them if they're not supreme? If ain't nothing supreme about them, why are we not fighting them?
Mm-hmm.
Why you ain't running up on them and knocking their head off their fucking shoulders?
Exactly.
But we're not discussing those things, right? We're rather implode versus explode. We're implode. We'll have the rage for each other. We'll have the berating and the disrespect of our brothers, our sisters, our children. These are our brothers. These are our sisters. These are our children. Giving doorway to the world to disrespect our people.
That was interesting. You brought it full circle when you brought up Old Dog, and it's very accurate what you just said, because like you just said, he said, I'll kill anybody. I just don't give a fuck, right? But you say he went to jail peacefully,
right?
He went to jail peacefully, so that
right.
You just said we are inward. We direct our rage inward. We don't explode. We implode. We don't explode. So that was very accurate.
He got in them bracelets with no incident. He was shooting at the brothers who was shooting. He didn't shoot at the police. You see what I'm saying? So when Sharif was in the car, they got whooped by the LAPD because he was asserting himself as the black man. He's saying to you, hey, you're doing this because I'm a black man. You understand what I'm saying? So the response to him, his asserting himself as a black man, was to get beat and dropped off in the Mexican neighborhood where their lives were supposed to end. But the story was to show some kind of presence of an allied situation as if this could happen in real life. See that? So the real menace to society wasn't those brown people that was over there. It was these black men that had to be brutalized and had to be killed, that had to be exterminated off the face of the planet. You see that?
Right.
So the boys in the hood grew up to be menaces in society, and it was apropos with the mass incarceration movement of the 90s. The super predators deemed us super predators and came with 3-strike rules and straight up assassinations on the street. But there's nothing new about that, because since we've been under this war occupation, this has been the result. So it's, kind of in full circle real quick in regards to how it's presented. Let's take a little moment here. You good?
Right. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. It's very interesting that you brought that up, and that's all. That's the theme. That's the theme of our people. We were trained, like we deprogrammed. To sum it all up, we are programmed. We need to get deprogrammed, and it speaks for itself. It's just like at some point you got to realize, as an individual, you have to do things differently, because we all go in circles, and it takes for us to be better people. It's just simple as that. We have to be better. It takes the individual to want to be better. It takes the individual to understand our conditions and to train to get the knowledge. Tap into any type of source that's righteous, that you feel like could make you have this constructive thoughts, and tap into it. Most of the stuff that we condition to consume is not for us, because, like my brother just said, we under a system of white supremacy. You don't have to like it, but that's what it is. Because if they wasn't supreme, we wouldn't be under the system. It would be over. So I look at it to really sum everything up. I look at it like none of us on the planet is operating in the state that we're supposed to be operating in, because we have an unnatural, or no, I'm not gonna say unnatural. I'm gonna say a non-constructive force, or a force that's dominating the planet. So we have to combat that by taking our minds back. And you mentioned earlier, you mentioned before we got live about getting back to the essence of our people, and that's what we have to start doing. So I'm all in favor of discarding this word completely out of our vocabulary, and along with a lot of things. And we need to get back on the footing of being constructive, having constructive thoughts, and using logic. And once our people value those three things individually, it will spread. You have to meet people. Like I said, we have to be better people. So if I'm applying the things that I learned, the logic of the universe, to my life, and I'm actively applying it to my life, hopefully somebody else is doing it. Hopefully everybody else next to me or everybody around me doing it. So when we meet, we already meeting in terms in a constructive way. Our thought process is already constructive. So when we meet, I don't have to worry about him calling me N-word. He already understands, like, that's not really for us no more. You know what I'm saying? So it really goes back to that. It really goes back to that for me. We put it on a scale. Everybody have what they see as important. And that, I guess, that goes for the individual. But as a collective, I think some things need to start being etched in stone. We need to start setting standards. We need to start setting standards for or standards, code of conduct, wherever you like. We have to get everything across the board. Like we have to have set rules across the board. Like some things are just not acceptable. Period. And we're gonna have to determine that as a people. And we don't have no one leader. Everybody is their own individual leader of themselves, and their leader of the people, their offspring that they have, or their legacy that's going to come behind them. But as a group, as a collective, as a people that's oppressed, we have to do things differently. If that means speaking it to existence, if that means discarding everything that's not for us, including hip hop, rap music, all that. I'm at that point. I'm really at that point. Because we don't own it anyway. So just to close everything out as far as that, like we have to create standards for our people. We have to we're not that word is useless. It's a useless word because I can see if we use the word and we were out here getting victories from it. Oh, the N words are rising up over here across the world. They rising up and they took over this whole country. They in power. The N words over there in power now. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. So I'd rather call my brother God. Cause then at least he go hold his head up high, look towards the sun, soak up them sun rays. All that stuff is important. All that stuff is important. The universe is not owned by the white supremacists. The universe is our universe too, as well. So we have to tap into it. We have to recognize the power sources that we have that's really readily available. We have everything we need to defeat the system already. We just have to apply it. And with programs like this, we can start pushing the message out there that words matter. How you think about yourself matter. What you want to call yourself matter. And once you think differently and think outside of the box, you'll start feeling better about yourself. And we don't got no excuse not to try it because nothing we doing is working as a group. Now individually, we got people progressing. Myself, I progress my mind. I progress my mentality. I develop my ideology, and I develop my way of life. And I'm not perfect, but I'm on a path to where I'm trying to help the next our people. I'm trying to help our people regardless of anything, and that's my assignment.
So for the young men you work with, I wanna go there. The young men that you work with and the families that's around, like are you taking an active role on how they present and how they see themselves, in that space, and how you can, navigate through that environment where, people they call in their offsprings, in your presence. You see what I'm saying? The N word or the B word. Stop acting like a B, or you see what I'm saying? When you start looking at it like that, like how you deal with that?
Luckily, I don't really have too many parents that do that, or anybody around me, coaches, anybody around me that does that regularly or anything like that. I don't really have any vulgar parents so far. I haven't seen any like that. What I do, and I'm just scratching the surface as far as what I do, what I'm doing as far as the children, the boys that's out there. Like I said, I use what I do as a tool. I coach football, youth football, and I haven't really got to. I'm just scratching the surface. So right now, I'm teaching them. I'm teaching them football, but I'm applying it to life, and I'm teaching them to be competitive, to have a competitive spirit. Teaching them how to work well with others, and how to follow directions, things like that. And in turn, they see I speak life to them. I speak life into them when I'm asking them about their personal life, how their day went, or how what's going on with them before practice. Are they okay? You know, is anything bothering them? If I see a kid that's out, a child that's out of sorts. So I plan on doing a lot more and getting into like once I can get more resources as far as area, like more I would say more, once I get more comfortable and once I get more support as far as the people that I'm involved with in the organization, I want to start doing things outside of football, specifically to really like the things that I learned, teaching them about the logic of the universe, things like that. That's my goal. So this is just scratching the surface. I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do it. That's what I'm focusing on. Just trying to get more resources as far as, you know, setting up different programs for them for where we can tackling more than just football. And I have a few younger brothers in the organization, and this is a football organization, and they on the same page, and they're on the same page as far as that too. So I'm in the process of building my little team. Right now, I'm a solo act right now, but everybody knows my reasoning for being there, because I say it, I wear it on my chest, and my slogan is, I'm not here. My reason to be here is not the same reason as everybody else, and my reason to be there is to be an advocate for the children, advocate for them young boys, teaching them to value each other. You know what I'm saying? And some of them have foul mouths, but they're respectful. That's why you need something. You got to be able to teach somebody something to reel them in. And then once you teach them something and they start to respect you, then then you got them. So that's my goal. I'm still early on into this. This is my second official year coaching. It's my third year being around it. And each year is just giving me more inspiration. And so now to the point where doing that actually helped develop me. It helped develop me and what my direction is now. So it's a two-way street with that. I'm helping them and they're helping me at the same time. And so I don't really like too much. We don't really have I don't really have parents being disrespectful like that toward their children on the field. I don't really witness it too much, but you know, I know what happens, and when I see it, you know, I try to have a great. I stay in contact with the parents. Like I try to have a great relationship with all parents. You know, I advocate for them as far as their children, and I see it. I'm the type of guy that even though the child might not even be fully engaged with what we're doing, or he might not be fully on board with everything all the time, but I'm not going to give up on that child. I know that child is in a household full of women, which is, and no male examples. I know, regardless of that child's attitude, regardless of that child being disruptive or not paying attention, I make it my business to look over that, to make sure that he keep coming back, because I know by pushing him off or forgetting about him or giving up on him, it's not going to work either. So that's what I am. I'm pretty much an advocate first for the children, and I like to develop a relationship with the parents enough to where I can have I can have conversations with them, and I can respectfully hold them accountable for some things that happen. Like I had conversations with moms that want to give up. I just had a conversation with a mother that wanted to give up, and I called her. Got her to reach out to me, and this has been a child that was with us for the whole 3 years. I've been with him for 3 years. This will be the third year right here. And he he's a good player. He just needs he's one of those children that wants attention. He's a brilliant kid, kind of, I hate to say, like one of those smart kids that know they smart, and so they play on your they play around a lot to manipulate, to get attention, and they wanted to give up. And I felt like, it's too much progress. He needs to be out there with us. He needs the men that's out there holding him accountable. And she brought him back, and his first practice back, I had to say a word to him. So that's what I am. Like anybody, I don't care who it is. It could be the head coach. It could be the president of the org. I'm here for the children. How you feel about this child is irrelevant to me, because I'm here for a different reason. So that's what I'm pretty much about. And I have so much that I want to teach them. I just have to get the resources together, and I have to get the team together of like-minded people. And that's the hardest part. That's really on the page, that that's on it as much as I am, because I can't, like you said, I can't be with the person that's the spiritual, like you described earlier, that's the spiritual person, and that's all about the spirituality and the chakras and everything like that, but they still calling you N-word. So no, I don't need those type people. I need people solid across the board, that's not perfect, but they applying certain things is just a no-go. And they set standards, and they building on top of the standards, and building on top of standards, building on top of standards. That's what I need. I need those type of people. And right now I'm just solo as far as where I'm at in Philadelphia, as far as, in my circle, in my environment. I have people that's supportive. I have brothers and coaches that's very supportive to what I'm doing. And I'm not, I say that I'm by myself because of the mentality that I live it. Like I live it every day. Like I study it. That's what I'm in terms of. I have yet to meet somebody like me. That's in my circle, that's an arm's length of me in my city. That's willing to do it the way that's on the same page as me. So, and I haven't really been in the mix like that, because I'm focused on what I'm doing right now, and I know I'm focused on that those children in that organization right now. Any children that's around me, actually, but specifically that's the base right now. So that's what pretty much is. So I would like to be looked at as somebody that the parent can call, and I am that person. I have parents reaching out to me about their children that's not related to football, with anything that's going on with them. So that's what I'm doing it for, and I love doing it. I feel so fulfilled. I'm fulfilled. It fulfills me by doing it every time I'm out there, even though personal life might be rough. When I'm out there with them, it's like a peace. It's like a piece, just like when I'm on broadcast like this, and also on my home broadcast, Melvin Air podcast. All that stuff is therapeutic. All that stuff is an environment where I feel free. I feel calm, and I feel comfortable enough to express myself. And that's where I'm at with it. I've continued to grow. I'll continue to get better. I'm not perfect. I'm just as flawed as anybody else, but I recognize my flaws, and I try to get better with it. And I apply it instead of the knowledge, like you said, do the knowledge. I do the knowledge, and I apply the knowledge, and that's pretty much it, man. I think I touched on as much as I can about that word. I want to discard the word completely, and now since this program, I will consciously get better with not using that word under any circumstances, and we'll see where it goes. We see if it catches up. If it catches up where everybody else can catch up on it.
So, final thoughts you want to share with the fam?
My final thoughts are going to be on this. We have everything we need within ourselves to defeat the system, because that's the number one. That's our number one issue. If we solve that problem, if we could defeat the system of white supremacy, then everything else will be easy. Everything else will be easy. The word, think about the N word, and think about what is constructive about that word. The key word is constructive. I think if we can live our life and just use that word constructive and apply it to everything, and if it's not constructive, don't do it. If it is, do it. Then I think we can start to chip away and become better people. Chip away that mask, chip away all that programming that's encrusted in our skin and in our body. It's just like a shell it's a shell. What we are is really underneath all of that. You know what I'm saying? What we are is really underneath all this skin. Everything is what's inside our spirit. It's what's inside our soul. So we have to chip off all this excess garbage that just been layered onto our psyche throughout the generations. And the only way to do that is to start thinking differently. And the easiest way to do that is, if it's constructive, go with it. If it's not, don't. And I'll just leave it at that.
Tell the people where to find you at, Billie Ray.
All right. Billie Ray Valentine on Facebook. Billie Ray Valentine _B1 on Instagram. DProgram78 on Twitter. And you can find me at my home, the Mighty Melvinaire podcast. Wednesdays at 8:30, between 8 and 9. Our start times lately. You know, we getting better with that. But we there every Wednesday. We're expecting we're gonna give y'all more and more. Like we still scratching the surface with that too. Like, we got so much in store. Check us out. We just did the Melvinaire Mania episode. I wasn't able to be a part of it, but it was a great episode. Very, very intriguing dialogue. I wanted to be a part of it. I was actually listening to it on the way home from football practice. Football season just started officially last week, so it's 5 days a week. So you can find me North Philly Aztecs if you're in Philadelphia. But yeah, Melvinaire podcast. Check us out. We have interesting dialogue about all types of topics, and I look at us as a bridge platform to where we bring the people that's not in the know. We're the bridge to bring them across to the side of empowerment. And just like my brother Knowledge, he's a Melvinaire himself. Everybody can't be a Melvinaire, but it's only select few. You have to earn that. You have to earn that spot. And our brother was a Melvinaire from day one, and he's featured on there on a few episodes as well. So and once again, Melvinaire podcast Wednesdays. You can find us on YouTube. We got a Facebook group. We have a Twitter page, the Melvinaire podcast. Shout out to my brother Ron the Plug, Self Care Snob, DJ Bruce Wayne, my brother Sean Dawn, all of you, the whole team, my brother Markel, the whole team, our moderator Queenan. I can't forget nobody. And we appreciate our brother Knowledge.
Get Leon, man. Leon.
Huh?
Leon make it more happen, man.
Oh yeah, Leon. Digital Impact Studio, Leon. I can't forget about him. Leon too. Digital Impact Studios, based in Baltimore. If you ever want any type of media situations, any type of media coverage, any type of interviewing, you want to do a podcast, you want to record music, he got the studios. Digital Impact Studios. Hit up Leon.
Definitely, yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Billie Ray, man, I appreciate you coming through. Take the time out of your schedule, man, to come make your stake. You know, this is part one. You know, I gotta sit down with you in person. I gotta sit down with Rome. Rome, I need Rome. Rome, stop playing, man. Come on, share your perspective. Again, this is research. This is fact finding. So if you listen to this and was like, I don't agree with nothing Billie Ray said, I think the N word and the V word is great for Black people. Come on, you can hear your perspective. I'm not going to interrogate you or browbeat you or disrespect your perspective. This is a place to love and respect. So if that's your perspective, come share your perspective. If you like, oh, I was raised this way and this is how I'm going to be, blah, 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 I don't see nothing wrong with it. You know, come share your perspective. All of the findings are going to be in the documentary and in the book. So I'm here to report the findings on how people in a way going forward. You know, so whatever your perspective is, that's your perspective. Come share it. You know, people deserve to hear it. And, you know, it's your perspective. So we honor the fact that you're able to share your perspective. And we'll see y'all in a little bit. Billie Ray, thank you again, man, for coming through.
Absolutely.
Showing love, man. This was phenomenal. You know, one of many. So
thanks for having me. I'm honored every time I'm on your platform.
Likewise. Salute to the Melvinese, man.
Absolutely. Salute to the team.
All right. We out, y'all. We'll be back in like 30 minutes.
You know, introduce yourself, let them know what it's about.
Okay.
What you represent.
I'm Ramona Africa, Minister of Communication for the MOVE organization. I am the sole adult survivor of the May 13th, 1985 government bombing and murder of my family. I am a representative of the International Concerned Family Friends of Mumia. I'm a former political prisoner. I did 7 years in prison for surviving that massacre. But most importantly, I am a revolutionary disciple of John African, MOVE's founder. And I don't hesitate or back up or apologize for saying I am a revolutionary.
Bunch of fake followers, that's not the move. But from the solid type, I'm approved. That's for who I'm comfortable. What I got to prove. Zach tried to warn me. Most will not before me. Won't like it or post a comment, but they watch his story. Might be yanking sleep, but they eyes beyond me. Won't believe till I'm on that podcast with Nori. Or Flat TV, next to Lazada BP. Envy around me like See the God and Angela Yee. Ain't got a nerve to tell me keep working. Like I don't know, they hope I fold, keep lurking. Creating my own ways, keep surfing. Spitting pain is a layup like G. Gervin. Big play for lyricism returning. So many accolades, P earned them. I came to set it, tell them lay embedded. Just have my money straight, I ain't taking debit. They ain't gotta like me long as they respect it. And the ones that fronted on me know that they regret it. I'm making way more noise than they expected. Control the game while they the contestants. Legendary King P's, and I'm here to make it great for MCs. Again, I chose to make a lane before I played the game. So never in jeopardy to gain a name. I knew the sun would shine for all the days of rain. I wish everybody would. Can y'all say the same? Unify, die. Let's build each other up instead of crucify. Unify, die. The best is yet to come. Follow the signs. Some just had the skill and some don't. Some will and some won't. But who am I to judge? Well respected and connected, making moves without a plug. Westbrook flows and boots, I drop a triple dub. They hoping I lose, but they know how I move. Stand on my lonely, letting nothing hold me, showing I prove. Shine bright, me and this mic tight like smoke Smokey and Q. Stick together, these peasants don't want no smoke, keep it cool. Please advise them, stop imitating, I see them jotting. City on my back and it's weighing, I need no proxing. Lanes hanging they stuff, no need to mop them. Ain't fading PZ, ACDC, I keep it rocking. Grew up in the time when they was junior black mobbing. I was on the stoop wallet, bumping Coochie rap album. Polarize, I see it vivid. Off the top, no need to script it. On my grind of reaching ticket planes and stopping me, forget it. Jewel dropper, solid as a rock, I move proper. Got true honor, my word is my bond. Superb with wordplay, I ain't got a curse when I rhyme. None before me, none to come. First of my kind, can't spin me with a 360. Put way too many hours in. Time to strip in the city. Babies need empowerment. Herpes staying bottled in. Murder rate towering. The game been in need of relief. Is you following? I chose to make a lane before I played the game. So never in jeopardy to gain a name. I knew the sun would shine for all the days of rain. I wish everybody would. Can y'all say the same? Unify, die. Let's build each other up instead of crucify. Unify, die. The best is yet to come. Follow the signs.
Hey, Sunshine Monet with the affirmations to enjoy your day with Sunshine Monet. You are listening to Chakra Music. I came through with intentions of destruction. You said you wanted freedom, well it's me then that you wanted. I moved in gratitude as my soul was being summoned. The consciousness has returned, Christ is really coming. I make these flows for the souls that's rich in indigo. I make some goals for they glow since they was embryos. Access the records, they lectures, keep your principles. Enemies infect you, don't let them reach your pinnacles. Reversing curses that's embedded in religions. They wound up in your soul, that's why you feel tension. I'm remixing declensions before Sumerians existed. It's something in the water, don't get caught, you'll get acidic. I bury enemies, pay pinnacles to the witness. You say my name in threes, I appear in your vision. Write Iliads in me, I'm the witcher in your system. Silly as can be, there's no opposite in infinite. I'm the goddess of crossroads, touching all directions. With the skull and crossbones that cause to the vexes. I applaud the protectors, I'm the god of inflection. They see the demon in me and still pause the respecters. I need no translation, vibrating from universe. My throat mansplaining while my yoni do the work. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arts. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arts. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arts. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arts.
Enoch 7 prophet, move like the full winds do. My energy is useful, my thoughts are old school. So I move with a Bob Slim. Say I'm sexy, haircut like Anita Baker, real lovely. Caught up in the rapture, it's kinda risque. Kisses and faces on public is real frisky. Touche.
You are listening to Chakra Music.
Mask off.